No, like, so first time boat owners, like the guy last week knew what he wanted and everything, right? Had it all picked out.
Yeah.
And then had to be the bearer of bad news, like it doesn't fit on your lake. Like,
No, I know.
shit sucks.
It does suck. Yeah. I'd say it's a little bit more difficult with around here too, because of all of the different smaller lakes that we do business with or service to and things like that. The rules are so different depending on each one, because size wise, it could be weight restrictions here, length requirements here. And half the time, sometimes the customers don't know their own rules. So we have to be kind of educated ourselves to be able to help guide you in the right direction. That way you're not spending that kind of cash on something you can't have. So, or, I mean, we've ran into it before where they're like, oh, we'll be able to get it on the lake. We'll be able to get it on the lake. And then they go through the whole thing and title the boat already. And then the Lake Association denies the boat and then they're SOL. So at that point.
Well, the HOAs have to have rules, right? So it's not the Wild West out there on those lakes.
Right. Absolutely.
It stinks, but we got a boat for everybody.
Yeah. Something is there. So
yeah. And then, you know, cost of everything is not thinking about storage and all that stuff.
Storage is probably the biggest one, just because boats keep getting bigger and bigger as time goes on. So they're not getting any smaller. They're not getting any lighter. They're definitely getting taller. So, I mean, most homes you have like an 8-foot garage door, which, I mean, if you buy any sort of pontoon, you're not going to be able to fit it in your garage at all.
True.
Which I get asked that all the time too, is like, well, what's my overall height on the trailer? And I always ask the question, I was like, well, how tall is your garage before I go measure the boat?
What is a typical height on a trailer for a pontoon?
Oh,
triple
man.
tune?
Most triple tunes are, I mean, over 8 foot. Most of them are around 9. So a lot of times, I mean, you need all of a 10-foot door just because like the power sun tops on all the newer ones are getting those sun tops lower, but especially like on our premieres, now the highest point on that is the tow point. On the tow cradle on the back. So
the cage,
so at that point it's like, well, it'll fit, but your tow bar is like the only thing holding you back. So, and a lot of people don't measure to that point because they think that the sun top is just naturally going to be your highest point, which on a manual top it usually is because it's sitting up a little bit higher, but on those power tops it's
they get pretty low.
It's getting it pretty low. Or you can kick those travel posts up and lay it down, but it's all depending on if you want it to sit on your interior or not. So, because most of the time it comes and rests right there. So, but say storage would be a huge one, just because, I mean, if you can't put it in your house, or if you have a 3-car garage and you own 3 cars, you're going to have to store it somewhere else. So where that comes into play, where, I mean, we offer storage here, but a lot of times it's first come, first serve if there's any available room, just because we do have the carryover from customers from year to year who are already planning on storing or have been storing with us for the past 15, 20 years or so, which those guys are always guaranteed their spot until they leave. So, or decide to not use us anymore for any reason. So one of those is definitely want to lock that down to make sure you have a place to put it, just because I wish we could store everything for everybody, but space is just a huge factor.
Well, yeah, it'd be awesome to just take care of everybody, right? But real estate's real estate.
Yeah.
It's hard
Things
to find,
cost
right?
what they cost, right? Say land is the hardest thing to buy right now for the right price. So
we lost one of our buildings a couple years ago. They were pretty much subleasing, right?
Pretty much, yeah. So it loses a spot for about 40, 45 boats. Yeah. So, which is a tough pill to swallow. But
if you got space, got storage. No.
Because like,
just on the pontoon, right? Like 22-foot pontoon ain't 22-foot long either, right? Like you got the trailer, you got the motor, you got...
Especially with those too, is people don't realize how long those tongues are. Or like if you have your motor set on the travel post or a transom brace or anything like that, that kicks that motor up another 2.5 feet. 2.5 feet. So at that point, you're like 32, 33 feet long overall on a package. And then you're now trying to find a storage unit somewhere in town that's got a tall enough door and is deep enough for that now. So it's like, creates a little bit of a questioning of it, just because, I mean, I would always tell people to store it inside, especially because if you're not going to use it you're not using it over the winter time. I wouldn't leave it outside personally, just because I've seen that do a lot more damage to boats than the summertime does. So say it's a little bit harsh.
A lot of harsh elements that we deal with here. What about a swing tongue on a trailer pontoon? Would that help shorten it up? Or
I mean, it can if you want to go down that route, but it's one of those is like, there's a reason most trailer companies don't offer the swing tongue on a pontoon trailer. I say especially with it sometime being 10 feet long off of the front of the boat, 8-10 feet long. A lot of times that creates that pivot point where it's just going to be bouncing on that tongue right there. So there's a lot more tongue weight on pontoons than there is on something like a wake boat or some sort of bow rider. Yeah. So, I mean, you're kind of just making the trailer weaker.
Well, those are only like 2-foot brakes usually on those wake boats or bow rider, right? So,
and on a pontoon trailer, it's not as easy just because a lot of times you have the winch stand that's attached to the stairs on the front, and to be able to swing that tongue, you pretty much have to unbolt the stairs from the tongue to swing it. So at that point, it's like, how much effort do you want to go through?
just to store
your boat, or just to save 2.5 feet. But I mean, if that's what you got to do,
that's what you got to do. You got to do. But, I mean, obviously the best storage is at your house if you got the room for it, right?
Right.
It's the most cost-effective way to do it.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. It's one of those is you can't really plan for that if you're buying a lake home, not like building it.
Yeah.
Because a lot of times when people are building them, we're like, they'll call us and be like, hey, I'm planning on buying something like this in the future. Can you educate me a little bit on like the size my garage should be? Like one of my dad's friends out at West Shores asked me that a couple of years ago before he built his house, because he's like, I just want to be able to put whatever I buy in here. So I just want it to be a generic size that'll fit everything. So since he's got an old pontoon now, he's like, I might want some sort of wake boat down the road in the future. Yeah. So I told him, I said, at a minimum, you got to have that 10-foot door just so that you don't have to worry about clearance or anything like that. Yeah. You can just back it right in.
On wake boats, you're typically, depending on the model, but you're like the Mastercraft we got, under an 8-foot door. It's fine, but it's tight, right?
It gets really tight.
Certain models, like your NXTs and XTs, and then you get your X's, you're definitely 10 foot.
Yeah, I would say especially on the X's with how much taller those have got after the refresh and that full power tower and everything like that, they stand up a little bit taller. So
another cost, they don't think about, especially when they're first, since we're on private lakes, moving to the private lakes, like dock, lift,
well, it's like most of the time people buy a house and it has a lift and they just think they're set and ready to roll. And it's like, well, it might be ready to roll for whatever boat they had previously, but you might buy something completely different and not realize that you don't have enough capacity for the lift and things. Seen that a lot where someone is like, yeah, they had a pontoon before, but I'm looking at a wake boat and they only have like a 4,000 pound capacity lift. Yeah. It's like, well, sorry, but.
And of course, the wake boat looking at 6,000 pounds, right? So.
Yeah, of course, 6,000 pounds with no fuel in it.
So it's not just a kit switch for the bunks or anything like that.
Yeah, it's a full lift replacement at that point. So just because you need that, you're going to be snapping the cable pretty often on a 4,000 pound lift with a 6,000 pound boat. So say I've done it before. So
especially our shore stations in that waterway, because we can only go so deep too with ours. So a lot of these sand pits, they're deep and stuff. So floating lifts and stuff like that, which we recommend the right people for that to handle all that. So
absolutely. Which I wish everybody could have a freestanding lift. I think it's a little bit better, but
I personally think they're faster, smoother, and stuff like that. But.
There's a lot of wait time. Yeah. On a floating lift, there's a lot of, we're lowering it, and then you're just like, all right, is it going down yet?
Especially going out there delivering it for the first time, and if the customer forgot to put the lift down before you get there, and you're a good 30 minutes before that thing's going down.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Might as well go inside and eat dinner and come back and put the boat on the lift at that point. Just because... or like the setup on them too is never perfect the first time, especially if it's a new dock, new lift setup, and they haven't had the boat out there to adjust everything. Seen a lot of that in the past couple of years where you go to put the boat on the lift and the boat's centered in the slip, but then it picks it up on like the rear half of the boat and it leans forward or it leans backwards. So it's like finding that right adjustment for your boat, just because every center of gravity is different every single time too. So just trying to figure out the right setup, that way you don't lose the boat essentially. Someone going by surfing too close to your dock,
which that's something that we try and talk to our customers, make sure they're out in the middle more too, but it's just education on that, because they shouldn't be that close to the docks, right?
Right. You wouldn't think so,
But they are. I mean,
it happens, right? So about every lake.
Not all of our lakes are huge by all means that we're dealing with around here. So
yeah, I know a couple of them, like being out on Saturday deliveries and things like that. You'll be going by and you're trying to stay in the middle, and then someone else is coming past you, and it's like, well, now I have to kind of give them a little bit of space here, just because it's like, I know I'm surfing right now and I'm throwing huge rollers. So I'm trying to be courteous to everybody else at the same time.
And be safe.
Yeah, right? And be safe and not ruin everybody's stuff. So since it's a pretty big topic going around in the boating industry right now, is surf boats in general.
I mean,
it's kind of a huge thing.
Yeah.
So whether they're going to be allowed, get rid of them. I think it's Wisconsin. Like the state of Wisconsin is talking about banning them on public lakes or something like that
crazy.
Right now, which I thought was a little crazy. But
yeah, I think there's some misinformation out there, and then operators not.
Most of it's probably operator.
I mean, everybody's got a bad apple, right? So
yeah, I mean, not everybody's perfect at the end of the day. So
I've caught myself too close too. So.
It happens.
So like first time boaters, like what kind of questions are you asking? They come into the store, how do you help them find the right boat?
Yeah. So, I mean, first things first is finding out where they're boating, because that'll tell you a lot really quickly. Because if they're out at Woodcliff, they have strict rules. Like you can only have certain things. You're not allowed to surf. So it's like, okay, well, we can really trim back what we're looking at. If they're like, hey, I live in town, but I trailer my boat to Table Rock every weekend. No. It's like, okay, well, now we can broaden our horizons and what you can pick. I mean, size-wise, all the way down to horsepower, where there's no restriction there. So figuring out what lake you're on is like priority number one. And then number two after that is finding out like how you're going to use the boat. Yeah. So like, are we going out and having a late night cruise with the family? Are you going to do water sports the entire time? Is your primary thing pulling your grandkids on the tube? So just figuring that out, because you don't need a whole lot of stuff, or you don't need to spend a whole lot of money on like a triple tune with a 300 horsepower motor if you're going to be pulling tubes once a year. Like your grandkids come to the lake house on 4th of July and stuff like that. So it's like you can get away with some savings by going with some lesser horsepower or different models in between, or do you need the triple tune versus the pontoon kind of thing? So that kind of figuring out situation, just asking those questions is like, how do you like see yourself using the boat, or what are your plans? What do you want to do?
What do you want to do with it? And I always talk about what this boat does and doesn't do well, right? I mean, bring it out, right? Like there's a boat for everybody, and fitting it in is hard, right? Yeah, they might want to surf, but 90% of the time they're just cruising around, or they're slalom skiing, right? Right. Yeah. So
it's just trying to figure out what's going to work best for them.
Or like, oh, I want this 23 footer because I need to have room for 16 people. But realistically, there's only 5 people in the boat at all times.
Yeah, exactly.
It's just how you're going to use it and the real need for it, right? So weeding those out and
navigating that situation there.
Cause for I got too big of a boat and it's a kind of pain, and then I stop using it, right? I want you to keep using it and stuff like that.
Of course. Longer we can keep people happier, the longer they'll be boating. So essentially.
Essentially, right? Yeah.
Just trying to make sure they buy the right thing the first time. That way they're not, upset with the situation or regret getting into boating or anything like that. So, or wanting to trade out of it in 2 years from now because it wasn't what they were expecting. So things like that, trying to get ahead of those situations, or
they got too small of a boat now and they need something bigger later, like 2 years down. And things happen, dynamics change, families grow and stuff like that. It's understandable, but trying to fine line that. Do you have a good process you try and do on that, or?
I mean, it's just asking a lot of questions, and mostly the right questions to customers. So trying to be a little bit personable, find out who they are, what they like to do, what kind of family they have, how big the family is, how old the kids are, if they have kids, like are they into sports, kind of things like that. That'll kind of help guide you in the right direction as a salesperson to make sure you're getting them into the right thing. How often are you going to be going to the lake? Like, how often do you expect to be on the boat? How many people are you bringing on average? Like, what's your largest group you would expect to see at one time, kind of thing? just because we know capacities on some are really big and on some they're not really on certain boats. So it's a matter of making sure you can get however many people you want on it versus leaving a bunch of people back on the dock or anything like that. So
would you say public boater compared to a private lake boater, two different kind of worlds? Or
yeah, 100%. So like there's a lot more gear that a public boater would bring on a day-to-day basis when they're going to the water, just because, I mean, it's not like they can go back to the house and grab something that they forgot or refill a cooler or, you know what I mean? Where the private lake guys are like, I don't need all this storage for 16 life jackets. Like if we need another, we'll go grab one. Or I don't need to store all my boards on the boat because we're only going to use one for now. And if we need the other one, we'll go get it later. So those kind of things I've seen a lot less be put into the private lake boaters for storage capacity. It's been less of a need for them, like a necessity. But I mean, you can definitely talk to certain people and they'll tell you right away, like, these are my non-negotiables. Like, I have to have a power top. I have to have LED lighting, like things like that. So especially like if you get certain answers like that, you're not going to be steering them towards a boat that has a manual top. Yeah. You just told me, hey, I need the power top. I hate messing with these. They bind all the time, or I can never get it by myself. We always need 2 or 3 people, where now you can just hold a rocker switch and it's going to do it all for you. So things like that is finding out like 2 or 3 things that are non-negotiables that I have to have, or even just telling people, I'm like, you can be 100% honest with me. You're not going to hurt my feelings. Like if I'm showing you a boat and you're like, I hate green, I don't want to be looking at this anymore, just tell me that and we'll move on.
Move on, right?
It's not going to hurt my feelings. I don't care. Like at that point in time, it's like, it's your boat. I'm not buying the boat. So if you don't like this color, we don't have to spend time looking at it. We can go look at something else. So
just trying to educate them the best you can, right?
Right. Yeah. Just trying to help guide them in the right direction is the biggest thing.
They're saying a boat from McConaughey would be different for, like, I don't know, West Shores.
Yeah. Say you would probably want a lot bigger boat on McConaughey than what you can get on West Shores. So, because I know we're restricted to under 23 for like wake boats and under 26 for pontoons. So, where out at McConaughey, you might want something that's 24 foot long in the wake boat division, or like if you have a large group of people and you're going out there for holiday weekends at McConaughey, I mean, there's a ton of space and a bunch of sandbars. So you might want the 28 footer for pontoons or things like that. So there's a lot more, I guess, opportunity to look at more options with especially on bigger water like that. So
I guess for a first time boat owner or boat prospect, right? What would you tell them, you know, when they're going into a dealership, what to kind of look for and the questions to ask?
Yeah. Biggest thing for that would probably be like if I buy this boat from you, can you service it? That's probably a good one right there, because I mean, there's some times where I know we get used stuff that we're not certified in servicing it. So we tell people right away, like, hey, this has such and such motor, like, there's nothing we can do. Once if this goes wrong in any way for you, you'll have to take it to a Suzuki dealer or someone that works on Volvos or something like that. So that's a big one, especially for the used department, because I know new-wise, we're not going to sell anything new that we can't service. Yeah. So that'll kind of keep a little easement on the brain for most people, because it's like, if we sell it to you new, we'll service it. Yeah. So running into that with Volvo stuff is trying to find a dealer that will touch a Volvo is pretty tough, but they are out there. So biggest thing for us is like not being a certified Volvo dealer is just, we don't have the ability to get the parts or have the technicians that are quote unquote certified for certain aspects of that boat. So not saying we can't do the work, it's just going to take us longer, because there's a little bit more hoops we have to jump through to do certain things, especially like on a used boat. But that'll be the challenge.
What can you tell someone for Omaha Marine Center? What kind of process do we go through with our used inventory?
Yeah. So when we buy a boat from somebody or trade for a boat, it does go through a full 75-point inspection on boat, motor, and trailer. And like IOs and stuff like that, we're taking the lower unit off and inspecting the internals, the gear case, things like that. Gimbal bearings is a big one, especially on older bow riders. They seem to be worn out all the time. Same with like exhaust bellows. That's a really big thing. So
Port and rudder.
Yeah, port and rudder on wakeboard boats, steering cables on ski boats is a big thing too. Just because those are taking a lot of torture from turning around hard at speed to go pick up a rider that's down, or going through the ski course and things like that. If it clips a rope or something like that, it could, bend that rudder, and then you have a little bit more issues there, just because they are made out of brass, and brass is a softer metal. So, but it would cause a lot more damage if they were steel to the rest of the boat. So, I mean, it makes sense to have some forgiveness, but for sure. So that would be a big thing too, is making sure you can get your boat serviced. So if you bought anything.
That's one question to really ask the dealership you're in, ask them about how many techs they have, what they're certified in, stuff like that. And
things they're capable of.
Big red flag is them being pretty vague about it and stuff like that. But
yeah,
they should be able to talk about it up front.
Absolutely.
Stuff like that. How many techs are on hand and all that stuff, right? No, so what would you, a first time boater, what if they're looking at used, what are some things to look for? There's a lot of private sales out there, right? So
there is.
What are some things to really look for when you're looking at that stuff, so you try not to get burnt down the road and stuff like that?
So, there's, depending on how in depth you want to go with your inspection. So,
what are some quick overall, just quick hits?
First things first is check the dipstick, check the oil. If it's an inboard, it's right there. It's color coded. It's probably yellow. Go ahead and pull that out and see how dark the oil is. Does it smell burnt? Is it watery? When's the last time it's been changed? Things like that. Because people will put off oil changes on boats longer than they do on their cars. So, which is, neither here nor there. But
I do mine every winterization.
Yeah, I usually do the same. I would say unless I
do a lot more hours in between. But.
Right. I would say, or so if I only put 50 hours on my pontoon this past summer, I'm probably not going to do it, just because it's not enough to ruin the oil. So, and at that point I would do it every 100 hours on an outboard, just because it's a little bit, easier. They usually don't run as hard, or on a pontoon, you're not running it on full throttle all the time. Or when you're in comparison to a surf boat, where you're loading it up with a bunch of ballast and you're putting all that extra strain on everything.
It's a lot more strain you should actually.
Yeah, a lot more heat is produced at that point too. So, which will make you need to service it a little bit more often, but it's comes with the cost there of owning a boat like that. So, I would say another thing for what to check on used boats is, especially on inboard outboards or V drives and things like that, when you look inside the engine compartment, you can usually tell if a boat has been underwater before or taken on water.
That's good.
Because a lot of times you'll see some sort of water line. It's about 3 or 4 inches above the bottom of the hull. So, and I've seen that a lot on older bow riders. So where maybe it's left in the lake or left on the river for too long and it rained overnight or whatever else. And
it's not necessarily that it sunk. It's just leaving your plug in on the trailer even can fill up those compartments.
Yeah, especially on an older boat that doesn't have an automatic bilge pump. It's not going to kick it out until you do it. So,
and if the battery's dead,
it is what it is at that point. It's just going to fill it up.
There's a lot of electronics in some of these newer ones too, so you got to watch out for that.
Yeah, especially, you should be pulling your drain plug out every time you take it out of the water. That way you're not transporting somewhat contaminated water for other people to, have to use or have to deal with on a different lake. So, that would be a big concern. So, because I know, from experience in the past, if you've ever gone boating at Lake Tahoe before, so there's checkpoints that you have to go through, and they'll stop you on the side when you're towing your boat to the lake and everything, and they hook you up to a hot water system and run your boat for a half an hour before they allow you to go towards the lake. So that way they run hot water through your motor and everything like that as a decontamination thing. And they'll do that every time you go up the hill. So sometimes that takes longer because there's a line. But some places like that are really cracking down on it. But just because you can trust people all you want, but sometimes this would be safe it's better to be safe than to be sorry, especially with zebra mussels. So it's one of those things that's an increased concern, especially around this area with more and more lakes finding them or getting them. So I know Beaver Lake has them all over the place. I mean, good because they have clearer water, but bad because they have a ton of plant growth now underneath it. So where they're now bought a new barge to cut it all up. And
I'm going to say, I think was it seaweed or something got really bad or something?
Some sort of plant growth underneath that's basically just growing towards the surface.
Well, yeah, and then your property values and all that kind of take a hit.
They do, for sure. Because, I mean, especially if you're going to be going from lake to lake, you don't want to be bringing those around. No. That's for sure.
Well, good thing is with a lot of our private lakes, they're pretty secured and got a good process on all that. But you still got branched oak, which I haven't heard a report.
I haven't heard if they have them or not, but I'm assuming they would probably have it somewhere.
They're definitely on the river.
Yeah, they're definitely on the river. I mean, most public lakes have them. Okoboji's got them. Yeah. The Ozarks has them. So it's like Table Rock's got them. So it's just inevitable. Most places where any sort of barge comes through, they're going to have them. So unfortunately, but I mean, it could be worse. We could have sharks and alligators, but we don't. So that's cool.
That's cool, right? No gators around here.
I know. That's a plus there. But I mean, another thing for new boat buyers to kind of think about is like your service costs, stuff like that. Yeah. Storage costs, if you are going to store at places, just because these are those added costs that people really don't think about to begin with. They're like, okay, my boat is $80,000. That's my end. But it's like now there's a couple thousand more down the road.
$3,000 the rest of the year, right? Just for storage or whatnot.
So
right?
Like talking about it earlier, like if you had a 22-foot wake boat and you were going to have us store it, winterize it, de-winterize it, do the full oil changes and stuff like that, that's going to run you, I mean, just around $2,300 for the full thing. So including storage.
The winterization, that oil change and everything?
Yeah, oil change, transmission flush, things like that for the full service. I mean, there's a basic service that you can do too, but if you want to do the right thing, so to speak.
Oh, yeah.
And then like we offer transporting the boat to the lake in the fall or in the spring and picking it up in the fall and things like that. And I mean, just cost that way to do it both ways is roughly around $500.
Yeah.
So,
well, if you have a like a pontoon without a trailer though.
Yeah. I mean,
more because you got to rent
there's a trailer rental and things like that. So you're climbing up there a little bit more to like $700 if you have to rent a trailer.
Which some of these lakes now are making it if they don't own their own trailer.
Yeah.
They won't even let us deliver their boat unless we have a specific trailer that's designated that lake. Which,
like I think Woodcliff is doing that now. So
not sure. I think Ventura.
There's a couple of them out in that Fremont area that are doing something similar to that. So,
and that's a good thing, for new boat buyers, dealers, I mean, to know all this stuff to help educate, right? So that's what I think we pride ourselves on a little bit more of knowing these lake rules and stuff like that. And I mean, and still comes down to the homeowner to get the approval and stuff like that, but it helps us help educate as well. So,
because I mean the homeowners are going to know the rules before we do. It's not like a lake comes out with new rules and just emails those to us.
No, they don't. They do.
They definitely do not do that.
I have to reach out a lot.
No, I know. So that's why I brought up Woodcliff, is because we've been talking back and forth with them, and I know the last delivery I did out there, I had to like sign a contract that says this is a brand new boat and a brand new trailer, and that way, like, if it's your fault, they can hold you to it. But same thing goes for the service department. They had to send them another one as well for all the rest of the boats we drop off, because it's two separate departments. So, I mean, which is a good thing to do, honestly. Especially with a lake like that doesn't have a whole lot of water depth. I mean, if zebra mussels took over there, it's going to be tough. So,
real tough. Well, there's other invasive species too that are starting to creep around. I heard of too. I just don't know what they are right now.
Well, I know some lakes are dealing with the carp still from the flood. So just because carp are essentially like goldfish, they're just going to keep growing if the body of water can hold it. So, I mean, there's some lakes you go to and they're 3.5 foot, 4 foot long, and they're like a tree trunk thick around. So it's like, that's a problem, because that's the last thing you want to hit when it's close to the surface with your boat. That can damage some props. I mean, it's a thick fish. So,
I've hit one.
No, I know. It's terrifying because the whole boat slows down and then picks back up
bogs
again.
down.
Yeah.
And there's a big old blood stain behind you.
Yeah, exactly. So it's like, and I mean, once again, with a brass prop, you're basically going through an armored fish. So it could cause some damage or bend something at some point in time. So the odd little things
It'll
that no
buff
one really
out
thinks
Brandon.
about. I mean, it could, but those props are expensive. So it's not something you want to chew or fix once a year. So, I mean, it doesn't happen that often, but it happens.
No,
so
it happens.
So, because I don't really know any other, I mean, most of the stuff is like plants. People don't realize that like plants that live in the water could be invasive species, like Manawa with their lily pads.
Yeah.
I'll say those were overgrowing like crazy until this past year when they sprayed them all.
Yeah.
So they now hit them with some sort of
whatever
kill spray to lessen them. And I mean, it's a lot better now, but I mean, it was eating up about like a third of the lake before. Yeah. So, and those are invasive. So, I mean, fish like it for the habitat, but other than that, I mean,
fishermen probably like it.
Yeah, they probably do until they get their lures stuck in it. So, losing all their tackle. But I mean, it's good for the fish. But other than that, I mean, you lose boating area, you lose beachfront, you lose surface area for water. So,
So, new boat customer stops in the store, you know, what are you recommending? What's the customer looking for that you're recommending a runabout / bow rider to?
Yeah, I mean, at least 5 years ago when someone said, I'm looking for a boat, like 90% of people, that's what they had in mind was just a runabout, like a Sea Ray or a Crown Line or something like that, because that's what they grew up with or that's what their friends have. And now that things have developed even further, it's changed so much of what people want. But the bow riders, I mean, they're perfect for like going out on the water and if you're just going to be cruising around or pulling tubes and stuff like that. But I mean, you can do pretty much everything you want, but you still have to worry about the prop being at the back of the boat. I mean, limited space as well, because they're usually a little bit smaller on the inside than something like a pontoon. So, normally for us around here, for like a 20 to 22 foot bow rider, it'd be like a family of 5, family of 6, nothing too big. Someone that's not really planning on bringing an extra family with them where they need more space or things like that would be like I call them the weekend warriors. Someone like that, it would be perfect for.
Nothing wrong with weekend warriors.
No, not at all. But it's like that would fit you better at that point in time, because like a pontoon might not give you enough power to pull something, or you might not like it because it's sluggish in the turns and you want it to feel a lot more sporty. Yeah. Where it's where people always say I'm not old enough for the pontoon. Yeah. It's like if I hear that, I'm guiding you towards a bow rider. I get it. Like here, come look at this. Hey man, I got something.
Pontoon's easy to clean though.
It's way easier to clean. It's way easier to clean, unfortunately. But I say that's essentially where I would guide you there, just because I mean, bow riders are great for a lot of reasons. There's a reason they've been around forever and they really haven't changed. So it's because it fits what a lot of people are looking for. Plus, you don't have to spend $150,000, $200,000 to get a wake boat at that point. You can
because you can still wakeboard behind them.
Yeah, you can still wakeboard. I mean,
that's what I started behind, a little 165 Sea Ray.
Exactly. Yeah, you don't need much
flips behind that, no problem. Right?
Yeah, you don't need.
That was before a tower.
You don't need 4,000 pounds of ballast to do a flip. Yeah. So that's a big misconception too. Towers are cool for that too, but you don't need a tower to wakeboard or anything like that. So you can get it done with the regular tow point you'd put a tube on. So it's one of those where, I mean, especially cost-wise, the bow rider is going to be significantly less than a lot of stuff. Yeah. Unless you're going for like a triple tune, 300 horsepower, stuff like that, then it's obviously going to be way above it. Yeah. But and then your standard pontoon is going to be somewhere in between. So
so what's your thought? Like family, they want a pontoon. They're on a private lake. Mm-hmm. This is their only boat. I mean, obviously we have regular pontoons, 2 tunes, and then we got triple tunes, right? Which are becoming more and more popular, realistically.
Significantly.
And there's benefits to that. So I guess, how would you guide that conversation with a first-time
boat especially owner? With like how tight some of the ponds, little lakes that we have here. The triple tune has been a big like push for those lakes right now, just because maneuverability. Turning radius is a lot sharper than it is on a pontoon, just because it's not I mean, it's going to pitch and kind of roll into that turn a little bit more versus pushing to the outside and just drifting along through that turn. So especially with some of the tighter coves, a lot of people like to have that third tune just to be able to whip the boat around a little bit easier. And I mean, especially if you plan on pulling stuff, it's night and day better than a regular 2-tune. So,
well, then when you're out there with the weekend warriors,
yeah,
it's pretty rough, right?
It gets pretty rough. Yeah.
So that third tune, a little more buoyancy, a little more control and comfort.
Stay on top of the water versus nose diving into some waves and stuff like that. So definitely a better quality of ride or quality time on the water at that point. It's a lot more enjoyable.
You can still pull tubes. You can still wakeboard. You can
do everything.
You can do whatever you want to do.
So
if it's horsepowered right, stuff like that.
Yeah, absolutely. Which obviously you have to get something within your restrictions. So that'll guide you in a certain direction as well too. So because I mean, some lakes you can have up to a 150, but maybe a 150 isn't enough because you have 8 people in the boat at all times, and you want to pull tubes, and it might not be fast enough. So. Then you're back to looking at something like a bow rider again, or maybe a deck boat, just to get that person capacity up there a little bit higher, so that way you have more horsepower. So just because it seems like everything IO-wise or inboard-wise is a lot higher of a horsepower capacity or what you can have for a maximum. So,
which, I mean, the wakeboard boats, that's more torque than top-end speed.
Right. So they can't really break 40 in a wake boat. So I mean, they can have as much power as they want, and it's still not going to go over it.
Although that new X23, we were going 42 when I was driving it out there.
No, I know.
That was kind of crazy.
It is really crazy.
Had the 6.2.
Yeah, I mean, that's 430 horsepower. So on paper, it's a lot. But it is a 7,000 pound boat.
I was surprised that thing got up to 42.
I was surprised too, because we had, 8 people in the boat at that time? And it's still
and we were at higher elevation too down there.
True.
So
absolutely.
I was pretty surprised. What about a fishing boat for like first time? Like they just want to fish, right?
So. Yeah. Fishing boat wise, I mean, kind of goes back to the same runaround questions you would get for anything else. It's like, how many people are you bringing with you? Where are you fishing? Just because some people need a deep V, some people need a mod V, and some people just want to spend $5,000 and get a John boat. So it really just depends on body of water, style of fishing,
what you're using it for.
Yeah, what you're using it for. Just because some of those, like our crest liners, a lot of them come with fish and ski elements. So you'd still have a tow pylon and things like that. So you don't have to sacrifice your fishing stuff to be able to, do water sports as well. So really just depends on how you like to do your boating. So if you're more of a fisherman, something like that crest liner would be a better idea. But if you don't care about the fishing stuff, there's other options as well. So, but if the family still wants to go out and pull tubes occasionally, you're going to have stuff available for you on those fishing boats now. Where before it was got to tie the yoke rope on the eye hooks and put it out into the water, and then it's dragging behind you the entire time. Where now you have things like a turbo swing you can add on to it, or a Crestliner has the ski tow pylon that you can put in and out. So that helps a lot for that aspect of it. But because I mean, fishing boats now, they're making them anywhere from 14, 10-foot John boats, something like that, all the way up to 22 footers. So you can get pretty big now through what we sell, at least. Yeah. So, I mean, depending on if you're trying to tackle the Great Lakes or or if you're just trying to go to a no wake lake around here and just fish for a couple hours. So
you can do that in a kayak too.
You can do that in a kayak too. But
and then everybody wants a tow sport boat, the wake boats. So I guess there's different ways to go about that, entries and stuff like that.
Yes.
And it's not for everybody, but
it is not.
It's where the industry's trending, right?
It is. I'd say a lot more people are getting into it, especially into the surfing stuff. A lot of people are interested in that just because, I mean, if you've ever wakeboarded before, which a lot of people have, if you've ever wrecked at 22 miles per hour, it hurts. It doesn't feel great. So
just stings a little.
I know, but risk of injury is definitely higher. I mean, people tearing knees or concussions and things like that from wrecking on wakeboarding. So people see the surfing stuff and you're doing like 10 and a half, 11 miles per hour, and it feels like you just jumped off the back of the boat into the water at a standstill. Yeah. So it's like, it's a lot more comforting, especially for older people. People in their 50s and 60s are still out there surfing right now, but they're definitely not getting on a wakeboard. So
everybody's involved in the boat with the rider.
Right.
I mean, it's
closer proximity. It kind of brings the whole social environment together. So
a lot of stuff to do with it.
There is. I mean, price point too on used stuff, I mean, is all over the board. So
and I would say resale value probably a little bit holding a little stronger on, the wake boats right now, and triple tunes.
Yeah, wake boats with a surf system from the factory with presets
Yeah.
is the biggest thing that is holding the most value right now.
Yeah.
It is ungodly. So
I would say
I
that's
apologize for anyone that wants a 5-year-old wake boat. You're still gonna have to
Yeah.
pay a decent chunk of change to
Yeah.
get it. So that is the one downside to that is they're definitely not depreciating if they're coming with a factory surf system. Boats without it, you can get into it for a lot cheaper. There's still ways you can make it surf. Suction cups, added ballast bags, things like that you can really lean a boat over and make it create a really nice wave. But if you like the simplicity of tapping a screen a couple times and it does it all for you, you're going to have to spend a little bit more than you were probably expecting.
Yeah. All right, Brandon. If someone's listening to this right now, what's one thing you want them to take away from this if they're looking for a boat in the next 6 months to a year?
Is make sure you ask the right questions. Whatever showroom you go to, it doesn't matter if it's us or somebody else, is feel like you're going through it thoroughly enough. Just because, I mean, a lot of things will go unanswered if you don't ask. So, or, I mean, checking out the quality of things, get your hands on it, touch it, feel it. I know a lot of stuff is now being done and sold over the internet and via phone, and a lot less people are coming in the door. But a lot of times I've seen it in the boating world where people won't go and look at something until it's the day they're going to pay for it, and then they show up and they just wrinkle their nose. It's like, oh man, like it looked better in pictures, or this isn't what I was expecting, kind of thing. So
Yeah, I mean,
it's definitely go put your hands on it, go feel it, go talk to the people, ask every question you can think of. I mean, there's no dumb question in the boating world. So
I mean, I always say go in and talk to somebody, because once you fall in love with it online, it's hard to hear the truth that it might not be the right boat for you.
100%. Yeah. Especially if you're working with the right person, they'll be comfortable enough to tell you, hey, this isn't going to be what you're expecting. So just to be as honest as possible, just because, I mean, at the end of the day, you want to make these people happy. So, and you want to make sure everyone's getting into the right thing. So boating is expensive, and it's not the easiest hobby to get into. So at that point, you want to make sure whoever is buying something is buying exactly what they need, so they don't have to do it 2 or 3 times, waste a bunch of cash.
All right, if someone wants to come talk to you, how do they find you?
Well, I mean, OmahaMarineCenter.com is the easiest way to reach us. Anything you ever want is going to be on there. Used boats, new boats, dock, lift, pro shop equipment, kayaks. I mean, it's all there. Easiest way to reach us would be that, or calling the store number. Just say, emailing me, whatever you want to do. So, I mean, I list stuff on Facebook for new inventory too, so you'll find me all over the place. Our social medias, Facebook, Instagram, things like that. Be the best way to get a hold of us.
That was great. We talk about this stuff all the time, but getting it out there, for people to start seeing is kind of, I think, going to do good for people when they're looking and stuff like that. So it's kind of nice to get all this on tape and, get more people out on the water.
Absolutely.
I mean, some of my fondest memories are out there from my childhood and whatnot. So
same here.
I think it's going to be great. So yeah, thanks, Brandon.
Yeah, thanks. We'll see you next time, guys.
Yeah.